Bellator is a hot steaming pile of garbage. Thank you for watching today's video. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. No, let's get serious for a second. Bellator is absolutely trash. I've felt this for a very long time, and I believe the MMA community have known this for a very long time as well, so I need to make this video to get it all off my chest and vent this towards you guys. So hopefully, just hopefully, there's a universe out there where the people that work for Bellator are going to watch this video and find somehow some level of constructive criticism that they can use to improve their company. And now, by the way, I want to state very clearly at the start of this video, I'm not taking aim at the Bellator fighters, okay? Do they have a worse roster than the UFC? Yes, they do. But some of the Bellator talents at the top of their sport, at the top of their organization, are legitimately world-class. Pitbull, Vadim Nemkov, Yaroslav Amosov, Usman Nurmagomedov, these guys could compete with the UFC roster and would do somewhat well depending on who they take on in the UFC. But I feel like they would all be top 15 ranked in the UFC in their respective weight classes. So I'm not taking aim at the fighters. I want to make that very clear at the start of this. I'm taking aim at Bellator as a promotion. You've lost. You're a loser, okay? You're out of the mix. It's ONE FC and PFL, and then it's Bellator. I remember there was a time not long ago where people would say, you know, it's the UFC, and then it's Bellator. Not the case anymore. Not the case anymore. And I'm not just saying this because of the talent of their fighters. They do have talented fighters. I'm saying everything else. They are a garbage promotion. They don't promote their fights. I've never seen a Bellator advert in my entire life. Their social media presence is absolutely garbage, so much so that they're sending Gegard Mousasi messages to say, could you post this on your social media, please? Like they're 12 running the company. Hey, Gegard, we've made a poster. Could you post this on your social media, please, to help promote the fights this weekend? That's how bad they are at it, okay? Promote, do it well, because you're not doing it at all right now. I don't see Bellator adverts, okay? I don't see promotion. I don't see a social media presence whatsoever. I don't see YouTube content for Bellator. Maybe they'll do something where they'll build up Raytheon Stotts versus Danny Sabatello, and they'll go on Ariel Helwani's show, and that way they'll get some kind of presence. I know Fedor was on Ariel Helwani's show, and, you know, Scott Coker was on the show as well, so they do stuff like that, but on their own, they're absolutely useless, and I'm not even just talking about the promotion. I'm talking about the business top to bottom. The cameramen are drunk, I feel like sometimes. The commentary. Oh my sweet God, the commentary. When I watch it, I don't feel like this when I'm watching ONE FC. Okay, I notice it's a little bit less good, or a little bit less than what the UFC is. And when I watch PFL as well, I'm like, okay, this is a little bit of a downgraded version. But I don't feel like I'm watching the amateur hour. You know what I mean? But when I listen to Bellator's commentary, I'm like, what are they talking about right now? What is going on with this promotion? What is the camera work that's going on right now? What are these graphics between the fights? It just feels like children are putting it together. In all honesty, it really does. Like absolute amateurs are running the show over at Bellator. They're terrible at promotion, absolutely awful, and it's like a disservice to the fighters that are even on the roster. It really is. There'll be people fighting for titles, and you can say, oh, you're not paying attention to the sport. Trust me, I do pay attention, and I know about up-and-coming prospects in the Bellator division, and I know about them, and I know that they do the Grand Prix as well and stuff like that, but sometimes you just don't even hear about a fighter until they're fighting for a belt. You don't even hear about them. Like, there's no ONE FC do a really good job of this. They'll post stuff on YouTube. Their social media team is up there with the UFC, maybe even better. Okay, in terms of, like, overall stacked talent, ONE FC can't compete with the UFC. But in terms of their social media team and their promotional team, they might be better than the UFC. I'll be honest with you guys. How many times have you guys seen like a viral video from ONE FC posted on their YouTube channel or somewhere on social media? You don't see it from Bellator unless someone's got a tornado kick KO or a rolling thunder KO. You just don't see it unless it's like a massive highlight reel KO. They don't do a good job. And I'm sick of people like Ariel Helwani, like, oh my God, Scott Coker, best in the game. Is he? Is he the best in the game? Seems like he ain't even doing anything half the time. Honestly, it seems like the fighters are promoting themselves, trying to get themselves out there, getting onto interviews, and the managers of the fighters are doing things for them. But there's like no benefit to being in Bellator in terms of how you're being promoted. And it sort of makes me realize, wow, like there is a massive advantage to being in the UFC for that very reason, because they have such a presence online that one post, if you show a good enough personality, one post on social media can just get you out there and get you a massive, massive name. Like Raul Rosas Jr. comes into the UFC off the Contender Series. The amount of promotion that guy got and the millions of views that guy got coming into the UFC before he had even had his first fight, the whole crowd knew about him. You know what I mean? Like, I know the UFC's at a different level in terms of money. I understand that. Bellator's not going to be the same. But you can try and make it close. I hate it. And the cards they're putting together. Oh my word. Let's find the event this weekend. Is it the Bellator, Eblen versus Tokov? Like, they put together some decent cards. But there was a card recently that they put on. Friday, March 31st. Okay? Friday, March 31st. Bellator 293. Marcelo Golm versus Daniel James is the main event. Kat Zingano and Leah McCourt. Jaleel Willis and Rustam Khabilov. Some of these are known names. Like, I know about Rustam Khabilov. I know Marcelo Golm. You know what I mean? I know Kat Zingano, Leah McCourt, John Salter. I know these names. This is what they got to offer. A numbered event. 57 days away. This is what they're giving us. This is how they're competing with the UFC. And it's not just that. There's like a level of downs that they have. If I was the Bellator, I say this so much. Please listen to me. Okay, I'm getting sassy now. I'm clapping my hands on the syllables of the words that I say. Okay? I'm getting real sassy. If I was Bellator and I was the promoter of Bellator, you know what I would be doing? I'd be finding a moment where the UFC doesn't have a fight card on. I'd be finding that moment. That would be my entire job. I'd actually hire someone to come in and say, you know what? Your job, find out when the UFC doesn't have an event. Find out when the UFC has a really weak event. Okay, and this weekend is one of those moments. And they do have Fedor on, and, they're trying to build a big card this weekend. I understand that. But that's their first card back. Bader versus Emelianenko. The UFC wasn't on last weekend. It wasn't on last weekend. Where's your blockbuster card? Where is it? You know what I mean? That's all I would be doing. Scouting when the UFC's not on and putting on the best card you've ever seen on that weekend. Promoting the hell out of it. Because the UFC's just going to be posting power slap videos during that week off. Okay? And then you'll start stealing a little bit of the spotlight. But they don't do it. It's like they have downs. I'm not even over-exaggerating. The commentary is garbage. The production value is absolutely garbage. I didn't even notice that the UFC production value was good. I didn't notice. I really didn't notice it. I just thought this is the standard. This is just how production value is. This is the bare minimum. And I'm okay with it. And then I watch Bellator and I'm like, what is going on right now? What am I even watching here? It honestly makes me not want to watch. And not only that, now I'm going to actually go after the fighters a little bit. Hey, Josh McCarthy, whatever your name is. Josh Thomson without a P because you're special and different and unique. Josh Thomson and John McCarthy on weighing in. Let me know. You guys got to be seeing this as well. You ain't competing with the UFC on any level. ONE FC is. PFL's doing their thing right now. You know what I mean? Bellator's been around for a long time. They have been around for a long time. In fact, the Bellator event this weekend is what? What number? I think it's Bellator 290, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's Bellator 290. You've been around for so long. What are we missing here? What are we not doing? Okay? Let me know. You know what I mean? Maybe make a response to this, because it feels like you're not trying. I'll be honest with you. And you've never actually run a company before, so how can you say that in your parents' shed? I get it. Cool. I'd be trying. Big company, definitely successful, seeing as it's been going for so long. You're clearly making some money. You've got Showtime behind you. You know what I mean? You've got the sponsors for it. What are we doing? What are we doing? And it's not entirely the promotion's fault, because I'll be honest with you. Bellator is probably the company right now in MMA with the worst main event outcomes I've ever seen in my entire life. And it feels that way. And when they do try and promote something like they did with Danny Sabatello versus Reffion Stotts, it's always just absolutely terrible. It really is just absolutely terrible. You know, it's just so awfully bad consistently. Like the Sabatello Reffion Stotts fight. They'll post a highlight. When UFC posts a highlight from a fight online, on social media in the middle of the fight, it'll be two fighters in the pocket, swinging back and forth, blood trickling down their face. You know what I mean? Someone gets dropped and gets back up and drops the other guy. It's crazy. It's amazing. Bellator will post like Sabatello teeing off, and it's him landing a jab on Stotts. 3-second clip. There, things are really heating up. And it'll be one takedown that the other guy gets right back up from. You know what I mean? It's almost sad at this point. They need to up their game. I'm telling you right now, Bellator might not be around in 5 years. I'm going to make that prediction right now. If they don't rapidly buck their ideas up and start actually trying to compete, because I'm not above the idea that they're paid competition at this point. Hey, Bellator, we'll pay you some money that we ain't giving to our own fucking fighters. UFC, this is. We'll pay you the money that we ain't going to give Paulo Costa. You know what I mean? And you guys just be shit and make us look good in comparison. Deal? Okay, deal. That's good. I'm not above that idea. I'm not directly accusing it legally. It was just a joke. I'm a character. Bellator MMA. We go back in some of their events, and it's just like, you know, they do Bellator MMA versus Rising. Really cool idea. Decision. Literally the whole card. There's like UFC cards where there's all finishes because they put the matchups together. They know they're going to get a finish. But at Bellator, it's like decision. Dull decision where they're laying on top of each other. And I'm not blaming that style of fighting, but it's just something about the UFC matchmaking. They know what they're doing. They absolutely know what they're doing. And you don't realize it. And then you watch Stotts versus Sabatello, and it's just like, you know what I mean? I feel like the female fighters get more finishes than the fucking male heavyweights in Bellator. It's a joke. An absolute joke. I don't get it, man. Nemkov Anderson 2, you know, reasonably fun, but nothing too spectacular. Nothing too crazy, and then another decision in the co-main event, and another decision in the feature fight, and it's just, I had to say this. I'm not coming at the fighters. The fighters are very good. But we don't hear jack shit about things until it's fight week. And it just reminds me, okay, the UFC actually do try. They do the embedded. They do this. They do the press conference. You know, the weigh-ins are somewhat professional, but I'm watching like Bellator weigh-in and stuff like that, and I'm like, what is going on here? You know? Let me look at the Stotts versus Sabatello weigh-in that they're doing here. Oh, God, it just looks so amateur in comparison. So amateur, and it gets 18k views. How are you messing up this badly? How honestly are you messing up this badly with your channel? You're completely out of the algorithm. Who's titling your videos to put a line in the middle of weigh-ins and Bellator 289? Weigh-ins, big line, Bellator 289, colon, Stotts versus Sabatello. Who's doing this? I don't understand. You know? Look at the UFC one. UFC 282, colon, ceremonial weigh-in. Boom. That's very short, very precise. The thumbnail's good. But then Bellator, weigh-ins. You know what I mean? First of all, that gets searched a multitude of different ways. People might search it with a colon in the middle or a hyphen in the middle of it. People might search it as one word, weigh-ins. People might just search it as weighings, as in with a G at the end. Don't put that as your first fucking word, you idiots, of a company. Big line down the middle that no one's going to fucking type in on a fucking keyboard. Bellator 289, Stotts versus Sabatello. Are they trying? Are they trying? It annoys me. It really does. Compared to ONE FC and compared to others, it's just not in the mix. Really isn't in the mix anymore, to be honest with you. And if I was someone who was coming up in the MMA scene, don't sign to Bellator. Don't bother. Because although you might get, you know, a bit more than you could get in the UFC to begin with if you do have a little bit of a name, I don't think it's a safe job. I think that company's going down. I would guess. It's going down. It's fading into irrelevancy. And, you know, we want to talk about, you know, rosters. And I said I wasn't going to go after the roster too much. Fedor Bader 2, like, he KO'd him in the first round. And this is your big one? This is the big one that's going to turn everyone's heads. We're going to blow the roof off the place this weekend. Barely anyone knew who Eblam was before the Mousasi fight. You know? It's just stinky. Watch out, on the main card, it's Sabaho Marci, 17-10. Remember that one guy who said, "Keep my name out your mouth," on Tough to Usman? You didn't grab the cage. You didn't grab the cage. And he got a slick uppercut knockout as well at one point. I remember him. But come on, man. It's like they ain't trying anymore. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Let me just double check this right now at the end of this. Bellator's schedule. Why do past events come up first? Who's structuring your fucking business? Type in Bellator's schedule on YouTube. First thing that comes up. Past events. December 31st, December the 9th, 2022. You type in UFC schedule on YouTube, I'll tell you what comes up. It's not the best. They haven't updated it all the time, and they do need to crack down on it. I'll tell you what it is. Boom. Great laid out thing right at the top of Google. Nice little, whatever it's called, layout. Nice little, there's a word for it. I can't remember the word for it. Derek Lewis, Sergey Spivak, main card prelim, interactive, open up to see the rest of the fights. Next weekend, what's next on the tab? UFC 284, boom, boom. Bellator ain't competing. I don't feel like they're trying half the time. Like and subscribe, see you later, goodbye.